immediately after the description of the story of the spies, the aftermath, the decree of God that the Jews would have to spend 40 years in the desert, the Torah tells us, "Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael va'amarta alehem b'voachem el haaretz asher ani mevi etchem shama." Speak to bnei Yisrael that when they come to the land which I will be bringing you, and the Torah describes several mitzvot, two in particular. One, the libations, the idea that on the Mizbeach, on the altar in the Beit HaMikdash, in the Mishkan, the accompanying korbanot, we bring both wine as well as oil and mincha, flour, together with the korban. Second mitzvah, after the description of those details, the Torah goes on and tells us about the mitzvah of challah, the mitzvah that when one makes dough, when one makes bread, one is supposed to take part of that and bring it to the kohen. This mitzvah of challah, this mitzvah of nisachim, the Torah binds together with this idea, daber b'nei Yisrael bevoachem el haaretz, when you come to the land. And the Ramban and others point out that the Torah is telling us, or God is telling Moshe, to tell the people that yes, there has been a terrible fall, there has been destruction, there is not going to be an entry into the land for this generation. But ultimately, in the next generation, there will be an entry into the land. And there is a promise that they will come in, and that promise is represented by mitzvot hatliot ba'aretz, by those mitzvot which are connected to the land. But if you think about it, these two specific mitzvot seem to be curious choices for mitzvot hatliot ba'aretz. Why did the Torah pick something clearly agricultural? Trumot, ma'asrot, the tithes, the trumot that we give, orla, all of the different mitzvot that are connected to the land directly, that we can speak of mitzvot hatliot ba'aretz, and not a aspect of korbanot, an aspect of the sacrifices that are brought, that there's a libation, or that when you make dough, which theoretically you can make dough anywhere in the world, and we make bread wherever we live. There is a mitzvah of challah. Why should that be specifically connected to the land? And I think that the answer lies in the nature of wine and in the nature of bread specifically, because we're not dealing with products which are produce. We're not dealing with specifically products that are directly growing from the land, that I could say, what are mitzvot tliot ba'aretz? Agriculture. And if you're dealing with agriculture, so naturally it is connected to the land, and there are special mitzvot of the land. But if you're dealing with byproducts or the products of that produce, in which human ingenuity is involved, where a man has to be involved in taking grapes and turning them into wine, where people are involved in taking flour, taking water, taking other ingredients, and turning it into a loaf of bread, and to view that as also being something which is connected to the land. The Torah is telling Am Yisrael, and by extension us, that we shouldn't think of our connection to Eretz Yisrael. We shouldn't think of our connection to the mitzvot of Eretz Yisrael as something which is specific to raw agricultural products, to the things that we can touch the land with. But even those aspects, or even especially those aspects, which are part and parcel of human ingenuity. Today we would call it the startup nation. That is also part of the bracha of Eretz Yisrael. And that bracha is being told to the Am and saying, yes, you will be here in the desert, but understand the future of your children, and by extension, 3,300 years later, the future of your descendants, to be in Eretz Yisrael, to be masters of ingenuity, and Be'ezrat Hashem to recognize that that ingenuity comes from the Ribono Shel Olam in this wonderful land that He has given us.